Facilities Committee. I'm Ray Bergarelli. With me tonight are Ms. Mackenzie Boucher, Mr. John DeRay, our Clerk of the Board, Acting Superintendent Onyx Peterson, Assistant Superintendent of Finance Kimberly Roaring, and the firm of CS Search, thank you, CS Arch, and Jacobs. Oh, and Andy Velez. Hand this meeting over to Ms. Roaring.
Thank you. This evening, we're going to have a capital project update from Mr. Tom Ritzenzeller at CS Arch and Mr. Ben Alling at Jacobs. They're going to touch on all the projects that are currently underway in the district.
Okay, so we'll begin. And thank you for allowing us to give you an update. So we'll go through the quick agenda so you can see all the projects we will be discussing tonight. So if we go to the next slide. So, of course, you know we're in the process of the NFA main locker room renovation. We'll talk about the CTE building. We'll do a budget review of the CTE building so you know where we're at with the overall budget. We'll talk about New Windsor Elementary School project. And then Ben's going to go through Prop 5, Phase 1 and 2, and then the overall 2019 proposition bond budget. So you can see where we're at across the board. So next slide, please. And of course, I always show this. The purpose of school construction, of course, is to improve education for children. So as I always say to the board, let's stay focused on the kids. Next slide. So NFL locker room renovations, if we go to the next slide, it's obviously, you know, it's backed by the elevated gym in the back of the building. And it's that area highlighted in purple. And it's really a full gut renovation, as you know, from previous presentations. So if we go to the next slide, this is the new layout, and you know that this will consist of a new boys' locker room with the associated toileting and showering facilities. It'll have laundry facility. We're going to relocate the mechanical plants to that upper right-hand area to the slide. We're going to have two team rooms, a team room for the boys and a team room for the girls. That will be off the girls' locker room. And you can see those two orange blocks in the middle. Those are the offices for both male and female coaching staff. And then you can see up the middle, there's that yellow corridor that leads to an access corridor that's for additional storage. And then eventually it leads all the way up to the gymnasium level. And so we've actually now improved the exiting to be code compliant, which it technically wasn't before as it dumped into the locker room. So now that's why it's a dedicated corridor leading to the exitway. So next slide. So as you know, we had our submission to the Education Department and our approval was December of 2024. We had the bid submission and we awarded contracts April 8th. We started abatement in the work area early, and then we started construction early as well, May 5th. Again, we wanted to get a big jump on this. This was always the game plan because it's a pretty sequestered area of the school, so we're not impacting program, and certainly in summer we're not impacting program. We're anticipating the substantial completion toward the end of November, and then the closeout by really the end of the year. I put January 26th, but we want to get these closed out expeditiously. So next slide, just give you a look at a couple of the photographs of where we are with the construction. Of course, we've gutted out all of the existing that was there currently, the old shower rooms, the old team room for the boys. You can see now we've done some of the floor leveling. We have taken out all the plumbing fixtures and actually relocated them. So we've routed out good sections of the floor. We've relocated a lot of the plumbing fixtures to a central wall location for efficiency. And you can see now they're starting to stud up and identify the various areas. After stud will come, board and tile and all of that in the coming weeks and months. So we got a couple more photos so you can see some of it. So next slide, please. So you can see big wide open area. Those stud walls, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Ben, that's the toileting area behind that.
That wall that you see framed as your chase wall for your sinks.
For sinks, correct.
And urinals. That's the boys' bathroom or boys' team room.
And then to the right will actually be the boys' team room.
Oh, sorry.
So to the right where all that stud is laying down, that's actually the boys' team room. It'll obviously be walled off as well to match the plan. So next slide, please. So you want to go through the budget?
Yes, so this is just a snapshot as to where we're at with the individual contracts, and, you know, potential change orders that are being presented right now. So their contract for the general contractor was $1,568,000. Currently, there hasn't been any change orders processed, but there, you'll see in the potential section, there's a few that have been provided by the general contractor, $15,000 for their additional slab trenching. Then there's a credit for removal of a double door on the back side of the mechanical room. And then there was some rework of the millwork in that laundry room adjacent to the mechanical room. And then you just see that there's an allowance that was provided in their contract of $40,000. So some of that would be used for the first change order that gets initiated when we get to processing. But these are potential right now because we don't know, you know, we haven't committed or agreed on a cost
We
yet.
haven't finished vetting. So realistically, if these stayed the same, we'd be applying, you know, 2,200 and change against the 40,000 allowance. So we're well in good shape. Yes.
So I know you talked about your, like your points of egress with that annex way, and I'm sure you've studied it, but just want to confirm we're ADA compliant with this as well?
We are fully ADA compliant, and we're required to be. The state education department does check that to make sure. So that back storage area was elevated with a couple of steps. We're actually inserting a rampway again to make it compliant. Next slide, please.
This is the electrical contractor. Their contract identified up on top says $178,132. These again list. We haven't committed any change orders just yet, but the proposed change orders that we know of right now is the electrical panel feeder, the added three-way switch at one of the girls' rooms, and then a trough relocation for existing trough way that was in the room. There's a potential change order as well for light that changed from one fixture to another. So we don't have that cost yet, so that's why there's not a dollar value next to it. It's just listed as potential. Their contract allowance amount is $10,000. Again, same thing as the general contractor. We would apply the allowance to the first change order that gets proposed once we vet out.
So just want to clarify that really quickly. We would use the allowance until the allowance is unavailable for change orders.
Yeah, and the reason we do that is because the allowance includes overhead and profit. So you won't have any overhead and profit until it actually becomes a change order. So it all has to be calculated within their allowance.
And then moving on to the next contract on the next slide. This is the mechanical contractor. Their contract value was $299,500. And right now, we're not aware of any potential change orders or proposed change orders. There's a potential one for freezing the existing steam line. That's a dual system line. Again, don't have a dollar value for that, but we're just listing that as potential right now. Contract allowance amount that was dedicated for them is $20,000. Moving to the next slide, which is the plumbing contractor. Their contract amount is $292,800. I can't read from. Okay, $292,800. And you'll see that in their potential section, existing cracked pipe that they've submitted a potential change order for $6,923. Their total available contract allowance amount is $30,000.
And then next slide. So,
Can we pause?
Sure.
Are there any questions about the new locker room? I have a- Okay, go ahead. No, go
This is more from a facility standpoint. For the fall sports that utilize that locker room, do we have a plan in place for what they're gonna do?
So that's going to be an ongoing. I know that there has been the other area, which I'm not quite sure. It's something that we brought up with the assistant superintendent for curriculum instruction and the building level principals to have alternate kind of plans to discuss with teams. They start, and I think mid-August is when tryouts and stuff begin. So it's something that we still have to make sure that we formulate and communicate to parents.
Yeah, I just have a couple quick questions. As far as the new locker room goes, coaches' offices, we had 2 areas that were highlighted up there. Is that more the same than we have currently right now, or had?
I can answer that if you'd like me to.
So before he answers that, I want to clarify that it's also for the PE staff, not just coaches. So like our PE staff have an office and contract, and that would be where they would sit.
But are we losing spaces or same?
Well, currently in the locker room, there is only one office.
Okay.
And it's much smaller. Now you're getting 2 that I think are just slightly larger than what it was previous. In addition, remember, we also had one of the rooms set up to be gender-neutral facilities, which we also said would probably double for referees and those kinds of functions as well. And that has lockers in it, showers, toileting as well.
With these new locker rooms, I know we have some sports like crew, which like houses their ergs, the the rowing machines. They were in like a locker room space. They weren't in a locker room space. Is there any kind of space that's included in this, or that's a totally separate issue?
I believe that would be a totally separate issue.
Okay.
The facility is really focused on the student and staff needs, referees and coaches, and really looking at storage from a different lens. There is some minor storage in there, but that's really focused in the team room, which is largely used by the football team and the basketball team.
Thank you. You mentioned a double door removal for a boiler room. That was not identified prior?
So we had it, actually, the double door was to the exterior. And so we felt it was probably more advantageous to actually provide that access from the interior and eliminate having to remove that heavy masonry wall and all of the associated work with it. And you could see it was a $14,000 credit, so.
The light fixture change, what's the reason behind that? That was mentioned in there.
Yes, so with the light fixture change, the light fixture that was spec'd did not have a photo cell built on it. These are exterior wall packs, so the change was a slight increase for going to a photo cell and a battery backup light. So they had to go with a different fixture for that.
Thank you. And you had a schedule there where it says substantial completion, we're looking for March. Will that mean substantial to where we're just talking paint? Oh, I'm sorry, I said March, November, sorry. I don't know where March came from. That'll be a problem.
Better not be March.
Substantial completion in November. Does that mean like we're talking paint and stuff like that? So the athletes will be able to get into there at that point? Or no, they're indeed gonna have to wait till final completion in and around January?
So November is supposed to be final construction completion, occupying for the district in that space.
What that really means is that there may be some final punch list items. We prefer to have that done before occupancy to mitigate the issues. But we also want to make sure, we're trying very hard to make it available for the start of the basketball season, and that's the target.
Very good. That's all I had on that one. John, did you? Kenzie, you're good? Thank you.
Okay, so we'll move on to the new CTE building. So if we go to the next slide, please. Oh, I can do it, sorry. I can do it. Do I have to point it at something? Oh, it's up there. All right, am I doing the wrong thing?
Oh, it changed.
No, he did it,
he
that's
did.
fine. So I think we can, just gloss over these. I think everybody understands the floor plans and the setup of the building, second floor, third floor. And then obviously the renderings, and now you're going to start to see what these look like relative to the actual construction. So we'll go on to the next one. So again, we awarded contract in last July. We started construction in September. Of course, we had the formal groundbreaking in October. Our anticipated completion is still July 31st of '26, giving the district a month to move in, do system startups, and really get their feet wet with a brand new facility. And then the program begins in September of 2026. So you can see where we're at right now. These were taken just a few days ago, 26th. Really, the only portion of the building that's not fully enclosed is the auto shop areas and then that 3-story tower. They're kind of working their way around the building. So if we go to the next one, there's the new gym. And you can see there's a corner of this that they're finishing up. That was really there for equipment and material access. And then back around the West Street frontage of the building. This is the south end of the building, where the bus loop will be, and then loop road around for 360 access around the building. And then you can see the roof is really in place at this point, with the exception of the 3-story tower. Again, they're doing the metal work on the tower, the cold formed, and then they'll get to insulation, and then it'll get brick facade just like the rest of the building. And then here you can see the roofing. You see we've already got the units situated. You can see that kind of fencing around it. That will get a screen, so you won't, we're gonna screen from view all of those rooftop pieces of equipment. It's just a 3-sided screen for more efficiency from the primary view. There's a look at the gymnasium, one of the gym entrances, and the gym itself with the strip windows along the western side of the building. Then some of the interiors. These are some of the classrooms that are being subdivided on the second floor. One of the corridors, the south view from it. So you can see then the one side of the corridor is all beautiful windows, natural light that's going to be coming into the corridor. It's going to be a really nice space to be in. So maybe I'll let Ben go through kind of where we are from a budgets perspective.
So this slide's previously presented at the other board meetings, but this just runs through the numbers for the Pike contract. They're all made up of, the first group of numbers, which makes up 70,484 for Pike. Then there's some individual state contracts that equal out to 4,152,812. And then this gives you a snapshot at all of the change orders to date that have been approved, which is equal to 1,944,439.
And I'll point out of that 1.9 million, 1.7 roughly is site work related from, issues we had with unsuitable soils on site, rock, and such. So, I know that sounds like a big number, 1.9 million. The majority of that really relates to the site conditions that we encountered.
And then there was, as you can see on the bottom, contract allowances, and how it tracked against that contract allowance, which was $100,000 for the unsuitable soil allowance. So that got used already, and it's just showing that was already used. On the side where you see in that box area, runs through the contract along with the approved change orders, and the subtotal of that is 72,428,440. And then you have below that the state contracts as well as the estimated value for the FF&E package, which is at 6% of the overall contract number. So that all equates to 81 million, sorry, 59,000.
That would be nice, wouldn't it?
And then this bottom section just shows how the contingency that was estimated for this work tracks against the used approved change orders. And that's where we're at, the 5 million number that you see down below.
So for the FF&E package, when is that going out to bid?
There really won't be a bid on that. Most of that's done through state contract purchasing.
So I asked because, so New York State contract allows their manufacturers to update their pricing once a year. I work in furniture, so this is why I know. And with that update this year, they're talking through adding tariffs into the state contract. So I ask purely because if we're only at 6% of budget for the FF&E package, we could be looking at significant cost increase if we wait to put that out to get pricing. So it might be smart to send that out sooner rather than later.
So I will speak to the tech side of it, and then Tom can speak to the furnishings because his team coordinates that effort, and that effort's already underway. So even though we don't put it out to bid, we do use contract pricing. That's really more advantageous for us because it allows us to maintain continuity of what we procure. The technology piece, they are already working on getting the pricing associated with the items the district is expected to furnish. They will be contractor installed. But the district is furnishing the wireless access points and the switches and all the things that go along with that. We'll furnish the panels, we'll furnish all the computer devices and telephones and cameras, which you've already approved the procurement of. So those things are in motion right now. We know that there was a lot of sensitivity around tariffs for those items, as you saw in our budget development piece. So Mr. McGrath's team is working on that very closely with the architect's firm right now.
Yeah, and we're certainly working on the furniture side of it. Certainly, we like to source materials that are assembled and even produced in the United States. That's very important. We want to support local companies and businesses, and certainly keep it local. And we are well aware of the tariff issue, and so that's really, we're taking that to heart. And there's two types of the purchasing that are happening for the building. The first is things that the contractor has to purchase and install for us, even if it's FF&E. And then there's a subset that the district is providing and the contractor is installing. And then there's some that's the loose furnishings that are being going to be procured through a state contract. And our interiors group is working on that to pull all that together. It's a lot of moving parts. It's a big building to furnish, and a lot of very specific equipment that goes into this.
But I think that we're asking a lot of the right questions. So when the submittals are coming in, we're looking very carefully at what it is compared to what we expect, but we're also looking to make sure that there's service, right, and ongoing maintenance that can be made available to us within a reasonable travel distance. So if they're submitting a contract or manufacturer that has no local representation and they can't service that equipment or do preventive maintenance on that equipment, we're not accepting that equipment. We're going back and asking for something that is within a reasonable radius to be able to have that maintained for us going forward. That's not always something that's considered when those selections are being made, so I'm really proud of the team for digging in a little bit deeper and taking those things into consideration.
And we've had to work with the contractor for the things they're supplying to try to get them to make sure that they're selecting things that can have local support as well. The next slide, I think we're,
Next slide's New Windsor.
I'm okay on that.
My only question is, we're confident on the opening date for next year?
there's no ifs, ands, or buts on the opening day as far as I'm concerned. I did want to also share, and I think the board maybe already knows this, but on August 12th, the State Education Department is sending a contingent of 5 persons down from the Office of Facilities Planning and from the New York State Education Department, and they will be touring the CTE. They have asked us to give them a tour of the CTE construction. So that's because they're only going to a very, select number of projects in New York State. And so it was really nice that they chose CTE.
Thank you.
Well, I'll start off with New Windsor. I'll start off. Hopefully everybody's aware, New Windsor is out on the street for securing bids. And we are going to be opening the bids on the 8th of August. And at that point in time, we will obviously be going through and vetting those bids and doing our due diligence, and then ultimately presenting something for the board's consideration of award. So we're getting close. We've got a lot of interest.
Are there any questions on New Windsor? Perfect.
sorry. Proposition 5, Phase 1, district-wide AC electrical upgrades. This involves Gidney Avenue Elementary School, the Temple Hill Academy, and Meadow Hill Gem School. Meadow Hill and Temple Hill are the two larger schools. This just runs through the dates for that project. Submission to SCD was in December of 2023. SCD approval came in October of 2024. BOE approval was in January of 2025. Notice to proceed went out in February of 2025. Start of construction happened on second shift starting in March. And then anticipated substantial completion is supposed to be August of this year. Anticipated closeout will come after that point. Proposed construction progress, abatement work happened within the first 2 weeks of the summer, and they successfully completed abating all of the floor tile, which was under the existing unit ventilators, and they've pushed in the new unit ventilators into place. That was a big undertaking. There was about 110 unit ventilators total between Meadow Hill and Temple Hill, and then there was about 16 unit ventilators at Gidney, which is a smaller scope and school. I'll add this, that they started up successfully the unit ventilators at Gidney today. They've got all the cooling running and the heating on those units, so that's a positive. There is other work associated with this project as well, which they're adding rooftop units and air handler units in the gym area. This I know is probably hard to read, but this presents kind of the change orders, whether they're potential change orders or proposed change orders to date. Right now, there was a hefty allowance added on the general contractor, mechanical contractor, and electrical contractors' contracts. So right now, we're unaware that there's anything that has superseded that amount that was identified for them. But we are getting into the nitty-gritty and the end of the push to get to the finish line for August. So that's that. And then these are just floor plan scope, showing the scope of areas of work that we have in each one of these buildings. That's Gidney. That's the two-story. These are some construction progress photos. This shows, the units landed on the pads. Those pads will get a fenced area around each one of them. This is a new panel in Gidney Avenue in the corridor area on that last photo. I'm going to go to the next one. This is a picture at Temple Hill. This is just photos of the air handlers in the playroom. On the first photo, some more condensers landed on the concrete pads in the second photo, and the third photo is a unit ventilator in a classroom. This is Meadow Hill. Again, you'll see condensers on pads at that school. You'll see some new panels with the switches in them, and then again, another unit ventilator in a classroom. They have to connect the heating and the cooling piping to those units. And then this is Proposition 5, Phase. Oh.
So before we go to phase 2, we need to finish talking about phase 1.
Okay. So for phase 1, there were issues with the electrical switchgear. So we're working through those issues with them while the capacity of those switchgear had the capacity to handle the loads. The vintage of them posed a different set of issues. So right now, we're working with the district and the design team to come up with a solution to move that forward so we can connect Temple Hill. It was determined that we can connect the heating side, but not the cooling side, as it posed a cost that the district would have had to incur to do the workaround to make that work. whereas the Meadow Hill, right now, we're still working through the process and trying to get to a happy medium with the design team and the district involved.
So the legacy stuff, the stuff that's already in place, is not compatible with our needs, with what we're installing right now. That's what you're communicating?
So that's part of it, but we would need to discuss that in additional detail in executive session.
Thank you.
If that's all for phase one, moving to phase two, this is looking ahead to the next 3 in the group of buildings that have to get mechanical upgrades. So this walks through the schedule for the electrical portion of this phase of work. And so right here, you'll see that there was a separate submission to the State Education Department in October of 2024, SED approval in January of 2025, so they were able to turn that approval around pretty quickly. Bid opening was May 12th of 2025. The BOE approval was May 29th. Notice to proceed sent to the contractor was May 30th of 2025. Started construction happened right when school let out for the summer. We expect those schools to be up and running for August 18th.
And they are on schedule so far.
Right, yep. So this just is a preview of what's happening at Bonneville Elementary School. That's one of the 3 schools. And then next slide, this is a snapshot of Fostertown School. And then this is a snapshot of Gardnertown Leadership Academy. These are photos of the pre-procured switchgear that was procured last year and is now going into the different electrical rooms.
Any questions on phase 2?
Okay. And then 2019 bond referendum. So this was presented a few meetings ago, and this kind of shows the comparison of what was originally proposed by the previous construction manager in column 1, and then a comparison to where we stand currently with construction hard costs, and then the delta line, which shows, items in red is kind of how it was trending over budget on some of these line items. Now, just to note, it doesn't appear that we're going to be able to do all of the things that they were proposing originally in the 2019 bond referendum because there's not enough funds to tackle all of the individual projects.
We can discuss that also in executive session if you'd like.
But this is to show, the comparison between what was proposed, where we are currently on construction hard costs, and the delta between those. Oh, sorry, and I don't know if this is, if you're picking up all the recording items. And then the previous slide is just identifying, the difference between incidental, what an incidental cost is, the definition, as well as construction hard costs, how we break it down in language. So incidental cost is really, all of the direct costs from architectural engineering fees to construction manager fees, hazardous material monitoring, legal costs, special inspection, insurance review. So all of these items are district costs that have to be paid for as supporting to the construction work. They're not figured in the construction hard costs. They're figured as incidentals, or we call soft costs or incidental costs for the project.
We should add commissioning as part of that as well.
Right.
So commissioning is a code requirement. We obviously are doing that. With third-party agent, the board has awarded that contract. So just so you're aware, that's part of the incidental as well.
And then construction hard costs are costs directly related to the physical construction of a building or a project. They are often referred to as brick and mortar costs. Hard costs include labor and material. So that's when we present the numbers on the previous slides, it's showing the direct hard cost. It doesn't show, the soft costs that are other costs that apply to the overall bond money that gets used for these projects.
Are we good? The last thing I wanted to express to the board, I don't know whether this has been, officially announced, but at the October School Boards Convention, we submitted a presentation on the importance of workforce development, and as a party to that, we used the CTE building as a case study. And so John Etrie and I will be presenting to the school boards at the upcoming conference. So we're really excited about that. Real excited because it's really gonna, again, be hyping up the CTE project for the district. So if anyone's going to the conference, be sure to.
We're very excited about all the attention this project is getting. We know it's a great thing for our district, and it's being recognized in other ways too, and we're really excited to share that.
Motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Okay, we're back from executive. Motion to conclude business.
So moved.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.